and this is my Rome. Welcome back to Vatican City. As you can see, we're standing in front of the Paul VI Hall. It was dedicated by Paul VI in 1971, and it was then named the Aula Nervi, named for, of course, the architect-designer. After the Pope died, the hall was given his name. It seats about 7,500 people, but they can expand that to 9,000 or 10,000 people, and it's generally used for weekly general audiences when the weather is inclement and people cannot go outside in St. Peter's Square. There are also many offices and a smaller auditorium in the hall, which are used for the Synod of Bishops and other gatherings. The most amazing part of the whole hall, once you go into the part where the audience is held, is a 20-meter wide bronze sculpture of the resurrection of the risen Christ. Can't help but capture your attention. Now, the Vatican is going green. And in September of 2008, they began installing solar panels on the roof. The roof needed repairing anyway, so they installed solar panels on the roof, 2,700 of them, to provide 300 kilowatt hours to heat and cool and air condition the hall. And I hope when you're in Rome, if you're here for a concert or a papal audience, you can visit the Paul VI Hall. For more insights into the daily life here in Rome, check out my daily blog, Jones Rome, on EWTN.com.
Hi, this is Ed, and welcome to The Outer Dark. Yesterday, as many of you guys know who have subscribed to this channel, I found what can only be described as reptilian symbolism right at the heart of the Vatican, in the Pope's audience hall. So I thought I needed to dig a little deeper as to what this actually means and how to decipher the actual symbolism. So stay tuned as The Outer Dark brings you 5 symbolisms of the reptilian Vatican hall. Number 5. First, some context. Yesterday I found a giant serpentine monument in the Pope's audience hall, namely in Pope IV's audience hall, or so it's named. The audience hall itself is made of reinforced concrete by an architect that was known for building bunker-like public structures, indeed monuments out of concrete. It was built in 1977, so it's really old. In fact, it's been around there for a long time. But my first lead that something was strange was this window, and I said, that looks like an eye. It looks like a serpent's eye. So I dug a little deeper, and when I saw the audience hall from the back, where the back audience was seated, it really did take my breath away, since what was revealed was this right here. That is a giant, massive reptilian face shaped into the direct architecture. Everything from the slits in the eyes to the scales to the fangs, there was no mistake about it. But what's behind this hinted symbolism, and what can we see or glean if we dig deeper? Well, number 4, look at where the Pope is seated. We see him here from the back of the hall, that is in fact seated in the mouth of the serpent or reptilian, in the very mouth. This is symbolic of the Pope being the voice of the serpent, in fact speaking the serpent's words to the audience. This might well shake your faith. That is, if you're a Catholic, which I was. I actually went to Catholic school myself and was an altar boy. But here you can see it in plain view. Clear symbolism, clear evidence that something here is extremely wrong. This image hasn't been photoshopped. This is real. This is built right into the architecture that was designed by those within the Pope's inner sanctum. But there is more symbolism. For this, though, we have to go outside. Number 3. Do you see anything strange here? You're looking at the hall itself. Do you see anything weird? Well, if you look carefully, it looks like the head of a giant snake. Can you see it now? In fact, it's almost unmistakable. You can see the snake's muzzle at the front and you can see its eye. It just looks like a snake. To me, this is yet more connective symbolism that what's going on inside matches the outside. Because since here we can see serpentine architecture with ease. Number 2, let's head back inside and look at what the Pope himself sees. If the Pope is seated where he is, what does he see? Well, he sees a giant serpent with eyes once again. The audience is symbolic of almost the serpent's meal, and the Pope is not preaching to the audience under this symbolism, but the giant god-like reptilian creature himself. Why? Because this is what the Pope sees. Can you imagine that when they were designing this, that they designed this all by mistake? That this is some kind of high anomaly? No, because they spent literally years on the designs. They definitely would have known what the Pope would have seen from where he was actually speaking. Also, what the audience was seeing. So this is very strange, and it raises some serious questions. What is going on in the hall? Number one. But the biggest clue, the biggest symbolism that tells us something is really wrong here is in fact what is missing from the hall, not what is inside it. Do you know what that is? Here is a clue. Now, think of the heart of Christianity and think of what symbol it has, and think of what you do not see in this hall. You do not see any of it. That's right. There is no Christian cross. There is no cross in the entire building, at least no large statue, wall hanging, or anything. There's no other real Christian symbolism either. There's no Virgin Mary. There's no Joseph the carpenter. There is indeed nothing anywhere. All of these symbols are missing. But you might say, what about that 10-ton bronze statue that's seated behind the Pope, where, as the Vatican states, Christ is being resurrected from a nuclear apocalypse or a nuclear bomb? To which I would say, this, I believe, is a direct corruption of symbolism. That is, they've taken the former Catholic symbolism of Jesus Christ, and they've displayed it in a corrupted manner, therefore corrupting its meaning. This is just not the way that you display Jesus Christ in any kind of Christianic religious order. You don't display Jesus Christ with massive wings on his back, rising up from an atomic apocalypse. You just don't do this. Look at representations of Christ from the past, just to compare. Take a look. Now you can see that there's just a huge, vast difference here. Something is profoundly wrong. I mean, this statue, which weighs 10 tons, just looks like some massive thing, like a boss from some video game or something from some horror movie. You just don't display Christ like this. And also note on this, Christ appears to have massive wings on his back. Half of his face also looks like it's missing, like he's been heavily damaged by the blast. Is this really how you display Jesus Christ? Ask yourself that. You don't even have to be religious. Just look at history and compare. So what is happening? Well, I don't know, but I'm going to continue to dig. You can be sure of that. But I think that this is significant, and something really big has been revealed here. Something we've found at the end of this trail of breadcrumbs, which started at a small pizza shop a month ago and led us all the way to the Vatican. Anyway, go out there and decide for yourselves. I don't want to tell anyone what to believe. At the end of the day, you have to judge for yourself. It's really the only way to always stay objective and find the answers. In the meantime, please give the video a like if you did like it. That would help me out a great deal. And let me know, and others, what you think in the comments section. Share any leads you have. I think right now, at a time like this, it's important to stay informed and crowdsource our ideas. In the meantime, this is Ed from The Outer Dark, and until next time, guys, I'll see you later.
Shalom, shalom. I'm Barbara, and I'm always short and sweet. Things and the Vatican. Here's the question. Why does the Pope Paul VI audience hall in Vatican City look like a serpent? Well, the name Vatican means divining serpent, and that's from the Latin vatus, meaning diviner, and can equals serpent, fulfilling Revelation 13:2. And the dragon, that serpent, gave him, the Roman Catholic Church Pope, his power, his throne, and great authority. The Vatican, the seat of the serpent. Satan's seat is identified as the serpent. Inside the Vatican, there's two buildings constructed in the image of a snake, the Basilica and Paul VI Audience Hall. And the Pope Paul VI's Audience Hall lies partially in Vatican City and partially in Rome, Italy. It was built in 1971 by Pierre Luigi Nervi. It seats 6,300 people. It contains a bronze statue called La Resurrection, designed by Persele Fazzini. And both the interior and exterior design of the building was purposely designed to resemble a serpent's head. And the audience is literally getting information from the serpent's mouth. And it's like a sick joke. The church is fully aware of exactly what it means, and they're the ones that invented these symbolisms. Here it is again on the inside. You see all the texture looks like a snake, the big eyes, and then up front the fangs, and that's where the Pope sits. Here's a close-up of what is behind the Pope, where the Pope sits there. It's a big statue sculpture. It's located there, and it's called the Resurrection of Jesus. But some have called it a demonic idol in the Vatican because of how demonic and serpent-looking it is. It is a scary thing to look at. And but the Catholic Church says it's just the work of Fazzini representing Jesus coming out of a nuclear bomb crater. Well, this statue is 23 feet tall and 66 feet long. And you'll see all these dead skeletons and bones up underneath the picture that's supposed to be Jesus coming out of a crater. And some even say the head up there looks like a serpent's head. Well, the Vatican and the audience hall, the inside view, as we've showed you, there's the eyes, there's the fangs. It looks like serpent skin. There it is again. And here's the eye. It even has the slit in the middle like a serpent eye. And here's what it looks like from the Pope's view looking out. It still looks like a serpent from this end looking back. Here's the outside of the audience hall, and you can see the back is curved like a snake, and it's shaped like a snake. And, you know, part of it is in Rome, part of it in Vatican City, but the mouth of the snake is in Vatican City. So from the inside, fangs and slits of the eye design to the outside snake head architecture with a mouth, it is clear that the audience hall was designed to look like a snake. And in Genesis, the snake is introduced as more cunning than any of the creatures of the field that Yahweh Elohim had made, Genesis 3:1. And then again in the book of Revelation, Revelation 12:9 and 22, it talks about Satan. He's called the ancient serpent. And so that refers us back to the book of Genesis, doesn't it? So in the New Testament, the snake is Satan, and in the Old Testament, the serpent is Satan. So when you begin to consider what the Pope's audience hall is truly saying, it becomes very clear that the Pope is speaking from the mouth of a snake. He stands in front of the mouth and he speaks. So are you listening to this symbolism here? Satan is telling those of humanity with the eyes to see that this is what's happening, and he's behind it all. And Yeshua said, when he warned us about fruit, he said, you will know a tree by its fruit. And this is just some of the spiritual fruits behind the tree of the spirit of Roman Catholicism. So remember, Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And if you are Catholic, please know this is shared out of love for you, of things that are in God's Word in the Holy Bible. So please like if this is a blessing to you, and share it with your friends that love Yeshua. And remember, Revelation 18:4 says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Remember, I'm short and sweet, and I'll be back next time, Yah willing. Thank you so much for being here today.
shows us a different way of measuring success. Ours is to plant the seeds. God sees to the fruits of our labors. And if at times our efforts and works seem to fail and not produce fruit, we need to remember that we are followers of Jesus Christ, and his life, humanly speaking, ended in failure, the failure of the cross.
Breaking news tonight, the Pope in America. A rousing welcome for the man who's been called the rock star Pope. Rock star Pope Francis begins a historic visit.
The Pope, the two leaders will speak to the world, then hold a one-on-one meeting with only translators in the room, all before Pope Francis addresses Congress Thursday with Biden in attendance. Even though the president and the Pope are allies on issues ranging from climate change to income inequality to Cuba, even the Iran nuclear deal, the White House refuses to reveal what the two men will discuss. The White House refuses to reveal what the two men will discuss.
For the faithful who'd been waiting for hours, the emergence of Pope Francis shortly before 9 a.m. was the thrill of a lifetime. Thousands, led by the President and Mrs. Obama, waited to greet him. And after the official welcoming ceremony, both leaders addressed the significance of the visit.
And I believe the excitement around your visit, Holy Father, must be attributed not only to your role as Pope.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
We need to remember that we are followers of Jesus Christ, and his life, humanly speaking, ended in failure, the failure of the cross, the failure of the cross.
was a rare moment. Pope Francis alone, praying. He placed a rose atop the etched names of the 3,000 victims of the 9/11 attacks. His goal? Bringing people together. The Pontiff chose this place to promote worldwide peace. The Pope joined hundreds of leaders of different faiths to talk about healing. Together, he led a prayer of peace for a violent world.
Peace in the hearts of all men and women, and peace among the nations.
He says he witnessed Pope Francis gracefully combining two contrasting passions in his effort to bring all religions together. To bring all religions together.
Jayang verang pasavati
wa ilayka yarja'u salam.
The words may sound different, but the Pope gathered them into one voice for peace.
Papa Francesco, on behalf of this very distinguished group, representatives of the Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, Sikh, Native American, Jewish, Islamic, and Christian communities of New York City, our civic and public officials, and the board of the September 11th Memorial Foundation, I renew to you our welcome and our joy at your visit. Welcome, Holy Father.
We, representatives of the world religions in this great city of New York, gather to offer words of comfort and
Intolerance
prayer.
and ignorance fueled those who attacked this place. The courage of today's gathering distinguishes us from the opponents of religious freedom as we stand together.
Namo Buddhaya Jayang verang pasavati dukkhang seti para.
Homage to the Buddha. Victory begets enmity.
Not the
coat that we wear. That truth is above everything, and the highest deed is truthful living.
Μακάρι η πτωχή το πνεύματι, ότι αυτόν εστίν η βασιλεία των ουρανών.
For they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
It's awesome to have you around. I'm glad you're addicted to fighting tyranny. Great job. 30 seconds left. Anything else?
Yes, I would like to just end with this note. As far as all the things that have happened while the Pope has been visiting here, the thing that bothered me the most is when he said Christ failed on the cross. And I did a report earlier in the day. People can go and look at it while I reference certain scriptures. But Christ didn't fail on the cross. He knew he was going to die on the cross, and he said, I'm giving myself willingly. So I was very disturbed to hear something like that
He
come
said
out.
that? I didn't know that. That was Christ's ultimate triumph.
Yeah, and he said he failed on the cross. There's an ABC News. I'm sure it's on multiple
Sounds
other
like
news
something the
outlets
devil
as well.
would say, Jakari. Thank you.
The statue of the Resurrection, located in the Vatican's Paul VI Audience Hall, is receiving some restoration work, which is scheduled to finish by December 9th. The statue can often be seen behind the Pope during his general audiences that are held in the hall. October 3rd also marked the 34th anniversary since the statue was introduced to the hall by its creator, Pericle Fazzini. Fazzini created the statue to show Jesus rising from the crater of a nuclear bomb. The Resurrection is made from red bronze and yellow brass and measures 66 feet tall and 23 feet wide.
Flammas eius, Lucifer matutinus inveniat. Ive in quam Lucifer qui nescito casum, Christus filius tuus, qui regressus ab inferis, humano generis serenus